Did that go the way you thought it was going to go? Nope.
I love me new Batman toys. And you know what? I couldn't help myself. This is an oldie, but it's something I've always wanted. So I finally picked it up. This is the Mafex blue version of Batman with the Carrie Robin. So this is the Mafex 2-pack, Batman and Robin from the Dark Knight Returns. Oh my goodness. I've been wanting it for a long time. The price recently dropped to where I just couldn't say no. And I'm so excited. And I've had this Superman since 2022. It was up there either as my figure of the year or fighting for that top spot with the SHF Buzz Lightyear. I still love this Superman so very much, but thematically, I don't have other characters in the same scale. I know McFarlane, and I own all of the McFarlane figures, but they're just so large that it's finally giving me a reason to take this guy down off the shelf. And I have all of these ideas for these 3 figures. I can't wait to photograph them. Here we go. This is clearly an older Mafex figure because you're getting so much stuff with it. Just because something's been out for a little while doesn't mean it doesn't have a lot of validity and reasons for being in your collection. And in recent years, with shrinkflation happening all around, I've been a little bit more disappointed with some of the more recent Mafex offerings in the last year or two, just as they shrunk down the amount of stuff that they typically give us. But right away, you're looking at 2 head sculpts over here for Robin, and then you get the 3 for Batman here. Oh, I love the cape down mask. That is fantastic. You're gonna get 4 of these tiny little batarangs over here. 2 versions of the slingshot for Robin. So I'm most curious about how Robin is going to move, just being such a tiny little, highly articulated figure, but I have high hopes because this Superman, my goodness, this is why I really want Mafex to come out with an Incredible Hulk figure, because they do such a great job with these big boys. When I picked this one up, as soon as they announced Bane, I'm like, yep, I'm gonna get Bane, and Bane was awesome. So I'm really hoping that this Batman lives up to the same thick boy, awesome articulation, smooth joints, but firm. So yeah, we gotta find out. So I have to start with bats. I love the Dark Knight Return comic book. I love the Frank Miller interpretation. Such a brooding, gnarly old man, grumpy as ever. And the fact that he had to come out of retirement, it's such a great story. I ended up reading, I think there are now 3 versions of the storyline. Even the last one, I still enjoyed reading it, but the first one is, my goodness, that's the one that is my favorite of the storylines. Yeah, this is straight out of the comic book. I don't mind that there's no cell shading. There is some nice paint and detail in here to bring out the different textures of the wrinkled outfit. So from a looks perspective, this dude is just absolutely spot on. Wow. And now you have this detail over here with the knife and the pouches, leg pouches. He just looks incredible. He looks absolutely incredible. Yeah, straight from the comic book pages. That is A+ work right there. Here is that alternate head sculpt. If you've watched my videos before, you know I love having options for toy photography. So being able to give us the stoic face and the angry, gritted teeth face is excellent. And then Yeah, that is, once again, super comic book accurate. Really dig the old man Bruce right here. That is, again, that is the comic. That is the comic. That is excellent. Well done. Oh, and Robin, Carrie, she's so itty bitty. But once again, insanely accurate outfit. But this is, oh, that is a bummer. All right. No worries. That pops right back in there. All right, all right. Oh. See, this is why Mafex can never be like my ultimate favorite toy line. There's always something goofy when it comes to typically either joints or QC. Ugh. Well, we'll get to that in a second. This is still just for the looks. I love those glasses with the lenses there. That is really rad. Well done on that. And even though this is for Carrie, you pop a different head sculpt on there, that can literally be any other version of the Boy Wonder. But so teeny tiny. My goodness gracious. Look at that. Ridiculous. And here is the alternate head that she comes with. The windblown. That is just really rad. Once again, it's not necessarily a different expression. She's got a little smirk on there. But the windblown nature, that is really, really cool. Well done. I'll give it to Mafex once again in terms of the look department. That is really special. That is really awesome. And I'm not really worried so much about posing them into anything super crazy right now. I just wanted to see what all three of them look like together. And yeah, after waiting and waiting and waiting for years to have this combination, yes, it makes me so happy. I have a big, huge smile on my face right now. Oh, that's awesome. That is so great. So looks-wise, all of these figures, but specifically about this set, yeah, that is the 5 out of 5 in terms of what they're giving us. Super comic accurate, bright colors, amazing. Articulation. So I'm going to start with Carrie first. I was most interested. Oh my goodness. I was most interested in seeing how she was going to move as this tiny little body. So you do see, you see it right there. You do have the double barbell, but I'm going to have to be, that is going to keep popping out on me right there. But at least you do get this upper torso, so it's going to be a matter of posing her very gingerly. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but not to be, I'm not shocked. Let me put it that way. I'm not shocked based on other Mafex figures I have, and especially because the leg popped off right out of the box. Great range with the elbows right there. So it looks like a single joint. Yeah, that's a single joint. It's just she's so fragile. She's just so fragile. All right, I'm going to start with this right leg. So you will get some movement. I did pop that in really nice now, so that doesn't seem to be falling off. You get double jointed knees that can go to about there. And you do get articulated toes, which is always nice as well. And everything on that end is pretty smooth. This makes me a little bit nervous, that elbow. I'm going to have to see, kind of squeeze that back together there. But that's not great. Again, Mafex, I can't just love them the way I want to. There's always, something. Yeah, so I might need a little bit of shock oil in this hip. There we go. Maybe not, now that I kind of got it rotated around. So my enjoyment factor of Robin is going to be lessened due to the less than ideal posing situation. Yeah, see, that is going to be a frustration for me. It doesn't mean I dislike it. This is just for instant thoughts. And to give you, again, if this was something that you considered, I ended up picking this up for $88 on Amazon. I will put the link in the description to the video below. But yeah, this is just something to be aware of. She's very dainty. For the price point for 2 Mafex figures for 88 bucks. Again, super great deal. And I am happy to have her. But I am going to have to spend a little bit more time figuring out the best posing scenario on how to take care of that. And again, with that elbow, yeah, she's cool, but I'm not going to, I can already tell, I'm not going to get the amount of supreme happiness and joy that I would want a figure like this to give me. If I had paid the $125 price point, I would be definitely more upset about what I'm dealing with right now. For $88, just Batman alone for $88 would have been a great buy. Robin is nice that it's included, nice that she's there, but ultimately problematic. Now for Batman, you are going to get some nice range of motion out of all this. He does, yeah, there we go, some good crunch. You get the drop down hips. You'll be able to get him bent over and crunched looking up like that. That is excellent. So you can get the leg up to about there, which is pretty decent. Then again, this is right out of the box, so I'm going to be a little careful about how far I'm going to push things, but I can already tell I'm going to enjoy messing around with this guy way more than Robin. And again, he's definitely giving me the Superman vibes. Cape-wise, this is my favorite wired Superman cape of all of the Superman figures I own. Look at that. Gorgeous. And you know what? This is a better feel. Superman did come out after the fact. I really like the texture of his cape a lot more. This one is a little bit thinner, but ultimately it will get the job done. I like that kind of folded up ribbed texture, very comic book accurate. And yeah, he can swing right in there with the best of them. So for some quick unboxing thoughts, again, $88. If you're a fan of the comic book series, I would say you can't really go wrong if you have that to drop on them. It is going to be a better set than anything McFarlane has given us, but it's not without its faults. You do end up getting 3 additional sets of hands for Robin, so that brings it to 8 hands altogether. You end up having 10 total hands for Batman, which is really spectacular.
So I actually wanted to spend a little bit more time with these figures for this review, and this is the container that I use to do my shock oil. It's a Horsey shock oil. I'll put the link in the description to the video below as well. And I'm going to use a Q-tip. Both of them have really tight hip joints, and they both, even on Carrie, started to seize up a little bit. And really, just to give you an idea, this figure has been such a disappointment. I mean, even there, she just pops right off. My goodness. Now look, the arm is falling off on me. I don't understand. There's even the gappage with the joint on the package itself. So she really is going to be nothing more than a statue, a statue type figure. It's such a pain to pose so that she's not just falling apart. Even the slingshot fell off, which now requires glue. There is a port in there on both sides, so it's not the end of the world. I just need to glue that in there. But you can see it. This is just, she's very frustrating to work with. Oh, and now that arm just popped off again on the other side. So there is that to consider. This, for $88, you're really spending the $88 on Batman, who is fantastic. But yeah, she really is, Carrie Kelley is really more of just a statue. And I don't understand how the promo art was able to get some of the posing that it was. If you take a look at it right now, there's no way I can get those legs to do that without instantly having her fall apart. So in the past, I would just do the drop right on there, but even with this nozzle, it would kind of smear and spread everywhere. So this is a new technique that I've started. I think No Chewing also said he does something like this, and I'm sure many other people out there. But by applying it to the Q-tip, it significantly limits the amount that you're applying. So it's not just getting everywhere. So all it takes is a little bit, and you can maybe hear that crease, but all of a sudden, there we go. That just loosened up big time. So there's still no jiggle, which is fantastic. You definitely don't want the jiggle. But yeah, it was to the point where just the plastic started feeling like it was seizing, which happens every once in a while. Again, Mafex figures, I have such a love-hate relationship with them because when they're great, they are absolutely fantastic. You can see my Daredevil over there. He is spectacular. Batman is great. But then other times you get a Carrie, and then you get these little QC issues like the leg seizing. But yeah, Batman, his leg definitely is locked in there. And while I don't necessarily fear him snapping, because he is so thick and thick boy pegs in there, he needs this little bit of shock oil. Get that loosey-goosey. Because Superman, totally mobile. No issues with Superman whatsoever. There he goes. Could probably still use a little bit more. It's definitely helping. But I'm getting ready to use him in the Toy Pick Community Top 10, where we've been doing our posing sessions. This is going to come out afterwards, but I highly suggest checking it out because we will be doing a posing session featuring Batman figures. So we're going to be covering Mafex, McFarlane, Mezco, SH Figure Arts. I think that's the big one. Oh yeah, and I have a NECA. So I'm going to see if that's just enough. May or may not mean some more, but I'm trying not to overdo it. You can hear that creaking and cracking. There we go. But that's already higher leg articulation than I was able to get earlier when I had unboxed him. I'm still not crazy about that creaking. So I might do another quick dab in rounds. But for the sake of this video, you get the idea. All right, I lied. I did do a second dab on the Q-tip. Applied a second little applicator of it. And now, no more squeaking, no more catching. And again, not loose whatsoever. But all of a sudden, I have all of the mobility that was just lost. So now I'm very, very excited to start posing him up and getting him into pictures.
So your mileage is going to vary, but for me, $88 was the perfect spot to finally jump in after all these years. And now Superman has a couple of friends. Thank you so much for checking out the video. And just so you know, every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I go live to talk about life and toys. Hope to see you in the chat one of these days. And in the meantime, have a great rest of yours now. Peace.